I love a thunderstorm. I'm so excited. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today, I'm going to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest is a 2006 theatrical release. It's about Will Turner, Elizabeth Swann, and Captain Jack Sparrow all trying to find the heart of Davy Jones for their own personal gain. It is directed by Gore Verbinski, cinematography by Dariusz Wolski, editing by Stephen E. Rivkin and Craig Wood, music by Hans Zimmer, and it's written by Terry Rossio, and Ted Elliott. The film stars Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, Orlando Bloom as Will Turner, Keira Knightley as Elizabeth Swann, and Bill Nighy as Davy Jones. The cast and crew had all signed up to do 2 more movies, and they ended up filming them back to back. Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio were very protective of their script, and they decided to make it a trilogy instead of just 2 sequels of different stories containing the same characters. They wanted it all to be interconnected. And they originally wanted to go for like Fountain of Youth stuff, but ended up going with like Davy Jones's Locker and the Kraken. They kept it like super close to the vest. They would not give like a finished script to anyone. They gave a working script to actors and director, I should say. And they would only give like finished stuff right when they were happy with it. They didn't want any input or anything. And then they would be on set and felt that their like the lateness of their rewrites kept the spontaneity alive. And these 2 movies did need, unlike the first one, fully working seafaring ships. They started filming in February of 2005 and they filmed in way more places. St. Vincent, Palos Verdes, Dominica, White Cay, LA, Grand Bahama Island, etc. Johnny Depp's stunt double did get severely injured and needed multiple surgeries, but he did end up coming back to work at World's End, but then did eventually sue Disney. The Flying Dutchman was inspired by Dutch flutes, a 17th century vessel, and massive Swedish warships. A lot of the Dutchman's crew was all CGI based. And they went with newer crew members, only had like a little bit of growth stuff going on, but like members that had been there for a long time were full-fledged like sea creatures. So we're talking like the hammerhead shark looking one versus like one of the earlier ones that just has like some growth going on. Everyone except Bootstrap Bill. He sat in 4 hours of makeup to get that look, and they gave him the name Bouillabaisse because it's 4 hours for Bouillabaisse. Bill Nighy did wear a mocap suit, and the animators said that he gave them a quirkier performance than they expected, which really helped facilitate their animation. And he originally was just going to have like some growths, but they eventually went with the full tentacles. The film had a $225 million budget and made $1.06 billion in the box office. This is our first $1 billion box office mark. Also, I just found out it was the 3rd film to ever make $1 billion at the box office, behind Titanic and Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Insane. It's got a 53% Rotten Tomatoes, which is kind of surprising. And it says, "Gone is Depp's unpredictability and much of the humor and originality of the first movie." It did win an Oscar for Best Visual Effects, but it was also nominated for art direction, sound editing, and sound mixing. This is stunning. Like, immediately, the opening water shot with the title, so beautiful, but then just the opening setup of Elizabeth at a wedding that didn't happen, and it's pouring rain, and just the shots that they start with just totally set it off with a bang. And then the way they use the camera to reveal Jack, Davy Jones, both Elizabeth and Will, but theirs just is so early it doesn't feel like a huge reveal. But Jack and Davy Jones's reveal, the Kraken reveal, all of it, so stunning. Such a great use of camera. The camera's ridiculous. It's so beautiful. I mean, I feel like at the time that this was coming out, this was like making Disney's live action releases worth it. This had no competition from Disney within Disney itself. Like, we just had Chronicles of Narnia, which obviously was a big deal, but I feel like it wasn't as big of a deal as the pirate movies. And, well, maybe that's just me. I loved Pirates of the Caribbean. I really had only seen the first Chronicles of Narnia. I never saw any of the sequels. Anyway, so that might be a personal experience. But regardless of that, the other stuff you have coming out at this time in theaters that are live action Disney movies, like you have 8 Below, which is visually maybe, you know, could hold a candle, but is nowhere near as, you know, blockbustery as this movie. And I don't know, that just like, it's like they have so many things coming out where I'm like, okay, the quality's not there, but then they have this, where I'm like, how is this, it's just... I've said it before and I'll say it again. These movies, I think, are the perfect example of how to edit between multiple things going on, all in one encompassing thing, while keeping the pace, keeping the humor, keeping the entertainment, keeping attention. Multiple examples in this movie. The whole scene where Will and the crew are trying to break out of the little, like, round cage hanging jail, and Jack is trying to get away from the people. That whole sequence, the sequence where they're trying to get the chest, and you've got the two who just want to steal it. You've got Jack, Will, and Davenport fighting for it on the freaking spinning wheel, and then you have Davy Jones's crew coming and trying to get it, and just editing between all of those while also keeping the story going of Jack is the one that gets the heart out, but then Davenport definitely takes the heart from the jar of dirt, and just like, it's so well edited between each of these things that you're keeping track of the story. I think they are, like, at this time in Disney, they are the peak edits to look at with how to balance multiple characters and multiple storylines going on all at the same time. This movie did feel a tad long, just like the first one. However, I don't think there's a particular scene I would get rid of, and there was no, like, scene that I was like, oh, I feel like the movie just came to a screeching halt. I do feel the movie ends abruptly, but that's large in part to the fact that this one and the third one are really, like, just one movie. They just got separated apart, which I didn't really remember. There were pieces of the third one that I thought happened in the second one. Turns out I was wrong. So I feel like there is no real, like, scene to get rid of. I think maybe just some scenes could be shortened. And I know people are gonna be like, how could you shorten this, that, or the other? I'm talking like some of the fight scenes. Like the sword fight on the wheel going down the hill of the island or whatever. Is that so freaking cool and just an amazing feat and like what a fun idea? 100%. The whole concept of these Pirates movies are truly to be like the freedom and the fun of being a pirate, etc. And that really captures it. However, it does go on like a little long. So like it could be shortened and still be just as effective and save some time. Same with a bunch of the other scenes that are similar. I feel like you could save some time in those and really tighten up the movie and make it super fast. Although I didn't have a bad time. I had a great time watching this. I just was like, it might be a little long, but then of course it like slams and ends on a cliffhanger. Like I didn't realize I was at the end until I go, oh wait, is this the end of the movie? And then like 2 minutes later it was the end of the movie. I'd say the standout theme or music for me are both Davy Jones and the Kraken's themes. They, obviously the pirate theme is iconic, but we have that. That is throughout, that is so great. But the introduction, like the second, like, you know, we hear, oh, his Leviathan, but nothing really comes of it. The second that one dude says, the Kraken, the music change to introduce that theme, I'm obsessed. And then anytime Davy Jones revealed the organ, oh my god, obsessed with their themes in this movie. It's ridiculous. Hans Zimmer, go the frack off. I know everyone loves Interstellar, but truly, what the heck? Like, this is so good. You can love both at the same time. So this plot is a little complicated. You got a lot of things going on. You got Will and Elizabeth who get arrested by this dude who obviously has ulterior motives because he wants Davy Jones's heart so he can control the sea, which they kind of gloss over a little bit. They don't super talk about the fact that the guy is like forcing Will and Elizabeth to do this stuff so he can control the sea. The East India Trading Company head, Beckett or something I think his name is. They really kind of gloss over that, and that's like a huge factor in both this one and the next one, I'm pretty sure. So the fact that they kind of like don't go into that a little bit more is interesting to me, because there's a lot of like hints and clues that push for him like being a bigger deal, and they don't really touch on it. They really just focus on Jack wanting to break his deal with Davy Jones, which is, so like we have Jack wanting to break his deal with Davy Jones. That's like a main plot. But then Will and Elizabeth get arrested for aiding Jack getting away in the first one. And in order to like, you know, get pardoned or not be hung, they have to get Jack's compass. Jack's compass isn't a normal compass that points to what you want, not north. And little did we know that Beckett wants the compass to find Davy Jones's chest with his heart in it, so he can control Davy Jones, so he can control the sea. That's really unclear, and I think that's kind of like, I mean, I don't think it's really unclear, but when I was a kid, didn't pick up on that at all. No way. I was like, all I really cared about is that Jack, Will, and Elizabeth were like fighting, doing things. So I feel like some stuff gets a little lost with how complicated it is, which is like fine. I'm intrigued to watch the third one and see if stuff kind of all comes and ties together, but I feel like the third one was also complicated. Turns out the only stuff I remember from the third one is like the big whirlpool scene. And Keith Richards playing Jack's dad. That's all I got. I remember nothing else from the third one. I thought both of those scenes were in this one, and I was wrong. So goes to show. So I feel a little like it's a little jumbled. Things that made me laugh, when Elizabeth and Will both said captain at the same time right at the beginning, that made me laugh. The captain joke continuing. A crew member of Jack's saying he was acting strange. That made me laugh. Elizabeth is so incredible. I just wish she wasn't. I mean, I know we have Tia Dalma, but Elizabeth is really the like only main woman, and that's frustrating to me. But we luck out with the fact that she's totally that B. She's the best. She's so BA. I'm obsessed. I think she's incredible. I love her. When Will tells her to watch the chest and she just goes, no! Goes to run and try to get them to stop fighting. I really love that. I think it's great. When I was young, because I think I wasn't fully understanding the plot, I was so upset when Elizabeth kissed Jack. I was genuinely like, that's what I remembered from Dead Man's Chest, and I feel like that's why, which sounds so silly to say it now, but when I was a kid, it was like a big deal. I think that's why I never watched 2 and 3 further, because I loved 1. I love that it ended with them getting together, and I was like, yes, my ship, they're friends from young to like lovers, like we stan, amazing. And in the second one, I remember like when she kissed Jack, me being like, what is she doing? I don't understand this. Will is an incredible man. Like, why would she do this? He's so heartbroken, and I just being like so upset about it. Now, obviously, as an adult, I see that she was doing that to like get him to stay with the ship to try and save her, Will, and the rest of the crew. Still garbage. Still don't think it was necessary. It's really there just to cause drama, which is, there's enough drama happening. You don't need to add that. It's just stupid. But then on top of that, proving just how much further Will is an incredible person. He sees how upset Elizabeth is, and he thinks it's because Jack has passed or whatever, and she's just upset. He doesn't know that she feels like not only sad that he's gone, but also incredibly guilty because she thinks it was her that did it, kind of, by forcing him to stay, by handcuffing him or whatever. And Will is like, what if we tried to bring him back to like try and make her feel better? Bro, what? Like, I can't deal with that. And then another moment I do love is when Elizabeth was right and Jack was gonna do the right thing, and he's like literally escaping from the Black Pearl, and Elizabeth sees him escaping and is like, wow, what a turd. And then he's feeling torn and he checks the compass, and you don't even have to see it. You know the compass is pointing toward the Black Pearl to go save them. Oh, that's so good. I really love that moment. I think that's a great moment. The movie is super fun. Like, just, again, I know for the first one I said it's just downright piratey fun. Same for this. The Flying Dutchman, Davy Jones, all so fun to get into that pirate lore. The East India Trading Company coming into it and threatening the freeness of piracy and just sailing the open sea and just all that kind of stuff. It's all so fun, so good. Will and Elizabeth and Jack and just the humor and everything. It's really, really good movie. I'm being nitpicky because I can. And then ending on a cliffhanger. Ooh, that's like a heck of a cliffhanger too. Like, it felt very much like the movie wasn't over. I can't imagine. I don't remember waiting the year to see it, but I'd be mad. I feel like at this point we know what to expect from Johnny Depp with Jack Sparrow, so that like newness and excitement is away from that. So it kind of really paves the way for Bill Nighy to totally outshine everyone in this movie. I think everybody does a good job. Special shout out to, oh, is that his real name? Jack Davenport? I kept calling him Davenport when it's Norrington in the movie. Okay, well, everyone knows who I'm talking about when I said Davenport. Jack Davenport also kind of deserves a shout out because his character is so different in this one than it is in the first one, because it's such like a noble man, Commodore Norrington in the first one, and in this one he's a little bit more piratey, a little bit more, and he looks good. And I really liked him in this one. I think he did a great job. He kind of stands out a little bit. But Bill Nighy, far and away, is so incredible as Davy Jones, especially like the fact that you can see all of this happening and his quirkiness and everything underneath this like mo capture animation. So good. I had no idea it was him when I was younger, and who doesn't love him? He's great. I think he just deserves the biggest shout out. I feel like we're getting close to the years where VFX kind of just like peak, and like now we can't really see the differences they do in VFX because all of it just looks so convincing and so real. We are still at the like cusp, I think, but the VFX in this are insane. I think they hold up. First of all, Davy Jones, very realistic. I've got no issues. All of his crew that have like sea growth, the hammerhead guy, all of it, totally buy it, held up, didn't have nothing whatsoever. The only moment where I was like, oh, okay, was the shot of Jack with the Kraken opening its mouth behind him. I was like, oh, he's on a green screen. Like, that was the only moment that like took me out of it and was like, oh, this is CGI. Which like doesn't matter because it's still effective. Like, I knew a huge chunk of this movie is CGI, but it looks so good. The Kraken looks so good. Davy Jones looks so good. Everything looks excellent. And I feel like we're almost at the time where it's like VFX hits its point where it's so real that now all the improvements they make on it, like they're negligible because it's all just so real anyway. Favorite part? Probably the fight for the heart. That was the most complicated scene and it was just executed so well. The spinning sword fight on the wheel, the Davy Jones people coming and trying to get it, Elizabeth trying to, just all of it was just so well orchestrated and well done, and I love that scene so much. My least favorite part, by far and away, Elizabeth kissing Jack. It brought up all my like memories from being a kid and not wanting it and being like, no, I'm uncomfy, I hate it! So I hated that. I thought it was gross. I absolutely would recommend this. Come on, it's a great movie. It's so fun, and I would absolutely watch it again. I think I do prefer the first one. The first one's just so good and is a nice little like in a bow, fun time. This one I would feel weird watching this and not watching the third one or any of the others. Where like the first one really is much more standalone. I'm excited to watch the third one and see how I feel and see if that would encourage me to watch 2 and 3 a lot more than I have in the past. Because I'm pretty sure 3 I might have only ever seen in the theater. 1 I've watched 1 a million times. 2 I feel like I've seen more than once, but not a lot. But I would absolutely watch it again. Specific moments. First of all, right at the beginning, there's like this whole scene outside of a prison or something, and birds like eating at people, and a bird just full on eats an eyeball, and I was like, okay, was this rated PG-13? Because probably should have been with that. The jar of dirt chant, that's the part I remember the most because I remember losing it at that scene. I remember when I was young, I thinking, I've got a jar of dirt, being the funniest thing in the world. I thought the heart was still in the jar of dirt in my memory. It wasn't. A line that took me out that I never would have understood when I was young, and it is such a throwaway line from the dude that only has the one eyeball. He says, when asked something by Tia Dalma, he says, the dichotomy of good and evil. So good. It took me out. Right at the beginning when Elizabeth says, if it weren't for the bars, I'd have you already. And then the dad, her dad, like, accidentally does something because he overheard it. That was funnier to me than it should have been. I thought that was so funny. Also iconic. I know it's an iconic line, but I forgot about it and it took me out when Elizabeth walks up to Jack for the first time and he turns around and goes, hide the rum, and turns back around. Also so funny. And then Elizabeth saying no when told to watch the chest. Those are specific moments I all really loved. The organ playing scene I think is really cool. Probably not necessary, but, you know, he's got a tentacle beard. Why not let him play the freaking organ with his face? Just all of it. This, again, downright fun. I feel like this one upped, like, it was a little bit more scary. Even in the first one, they're, like, skeletons, and it's, like, dead and, like, scary. Everything. This one, like, seeing the heart, and it's, like, really an anatomically correct heart was kind of, and just, like, the crow eating the eye, like, you know, there was stuff like that, a little bit more, not gore, because you don't see any blood, really, because the movie is rated a certain thing, you know? But it was still, like, lots of violence, and just, it just felt like they upped the scary ante a little bit more. But this was fun and exciting. I'm really excited to watch 3. That's everything I have for Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. Highly recommend. Give it a watch. My final rating is 9 Krakens. Chests? Chests. 9, well, did I do chests last time? No, doubloons I think is what I did last time. 9 chests out of 10. Our total movie count is. Parent death toll and cry count are still the same. If you want to keep up with movie watching when, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. You'll find out what movie watching when. I put out videos every Monday and Friday and sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. I got a tier starting at just $1 where you get every video a week early and a coupon code for merch. Tiers above that, daily trivia, monthly podcasts, weekly random videos live rent free in my mind, monthly postcards. Just go look and join, okay? Buy merch. Merch is great. Merch is grand. This is an oldie. This one's starting to really flake because it was my first one of this one. So go get it. Until next time, come on, subscribe, but I'm not in charge of your life. You are, so do you, and don't be Davy Jones about it. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. We pillage, we plunder. Drink up, me hearties, yo ho. Banana, 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 banana.